we want to talk about the supplier onboarding. Just a quick introduction on our site. I'm Daniel. I'm the CEO of Prokuria, and Alex is on the technical team, so he has a lot of experience with implementing supplier onboarding forms for our customers. So, and we want to make this webinar as practical as it can get. So we don't want to do theory or academic kind of study. We want to show a real example and something inspired by what we from what we do for our customers. So we'll try to do a scenario where we are a real company and Alex is on the vendor management team and he receives emails and he needs to actually onboard a new supplier. So that will be the story that we have. But first of all, I just wanted to start with a couple of points for people that don't use now onboarding supplier onboarding process or forms in their company. So why you should have a supplier onboarding form and process. First of all is because that's the only way you ensure the process is compliant and you don't have any major risk. In some industries, it's kind of mandatory. In other industries, it's good to have, but when you get to a larger number of suppliers and you want to maintain a certain
level
process,
of quality,
a certain process, some kind of standard way of working, and then, as Alex was saying, quality of the suppliers, then basically you need to have like a process, and usually if you have a process, you have a supplier onboarding form. Secondly, it's about efficiency. If you leave that to everybody can do it in the company, then you can imagine everybody is doing its own way, so it's not very efficient. And if you have some standardized process, there is like a clear procedure, everybody is comfortable with that. There is a go-to process and they can apply that in their day-to-day work. And now there are two ways of doing this. A lot of companies we've seen in the moment, they start to put more structure around their purchasing department, procurement function. They will start to have a vendor manager team that actually it's one of the role to manage the database of vendors, and the first part is onboarding new suppliers. There are also companies that leave it pretty free, but still the people that are trying to work with a new suppliers, they need to go through the process. So that's in terms of the roles, and in terms of where exactly the onboarding process fits in the overall procurement process. Usually it's before selecting and contracting a new supplier. So the standard flow is that you need something to buy. That's the role of procurement. And then you identify some suppliers. And then you kind of do the shortlist, maybe do an RFQ. That was our previous webinar. And then when you're actually selecting the supplier before contracting, you want to go with that supplier through the onboarding process. Another way of doing is that maybe you want to do it even earlier in the process before actually inviting to the RFQ. You want to do a preliminary onboarding. Maybe it's not the full onboarding. You'll see, Alex, I think, a very advanced kind of onboarding form. But maybe you want to do a preliminary, just that the people you are inviting to the RFQ kind of matches your minimum requirement. And then you are doing the RFQ or negotiation or your process of selection of the supplier. You want to do the contract, and then before the contract, you actually do the full compliance qualification questionnaire, however you call it. That's another thing. Alex, I think here you had much more experience. Different names for the onboarding form.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we call it onboarding form. Some people are call it registration form, new supplier registration form. A lot of people are around questionnaires, qualification questionnaires, compliance questionnaire, requirement questionnaire, things like that. Overall, it's the same concept. You want to qualify the suppliers in order to start working on them. So it's about they need to provide some information. You validate. The company is validating that information, and then if all good, you can go and move to the next step. So I would say that was the short introduction on the onboarding part. Let's proceed, Alex.
Yep.
I think if that's good. Let's start with the real example and see how your holidays will be if you're to work
Yeah.
for the vendor management team in this scenario that we have in this company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think based on what my colleague from my XYZ company has sent me, I don't believe my holidays will be much receive much rest. So we have this email here that my colleague sent me, and they're asking me to, send a onboard this supplier, and they provided me with the name and the category and the email address for the contact. And what I will do right now, and what my process would be, is to prepare the document, my onboarding document that I have, and usually send to my suppliers. So let's take a look at that one. And this is the rough of it, and this is the information I require in order to proceed with the onboarding of this supplier in my company. So just a quick glance through the fields. I'll need their standard information, company status, what VAT number they have, contact people, etc. Then some business services like number of employees and the details of the nature of the business that they provide. And then whether they worked with us before, some financial information, how they get paid, just to make sure that the financial side of the supplier is good, and I'm not working with, people that might get me down and run my company into the ground because of them. So, and then I have, different sheets. So, some examples of who they worked for before, what was the scope of work. And then the final step would be to, verify that all the information that they provided in this document is valid and is actually accurate. So
from your experience, Alex, this is like a low complexity, medium complexity, or high complexity from what you work?
From from my work, this is somewhat in the middle. It's not as advanced as it can be, and of course, complications can arrive everywhere. One thing that is not covered in the document is in this Excel file is the documents that they need to provide. So we have a list of documents that they need to send to us, and basically the whole process is them filling this Excel in, then attach it in the email, and in the email that they send back to me, and then also attach a list of documents that I ask them, to send to me. So in terms of complexity, it can get much more complex, but it can also be simpler. And this is to come back to your point that you said, hey, how does it look and how it's named? So different companies name it different things. Some say compliance questionnaire, some say qualification questionnaire, and it goes hand in hand with what they require. So because different businesses have various needs and expectancies in terms of what the supplier needs to send to them. So the next step, after validating that this is the actual information that I need, is to basically go and formulate an email. So I've gone ahead and prepared one. And in here, I'm saying I'm reaching out to initiate the onboarding process. What you need to do is download the attached Excel file, which I haven't attached, and I'm going to do now. And then there I give them some instructions. So basically, their process is download the Excel file, complete all the information from it, then attach the documents required here, and send it back to me. Now, in theory, that's a very smooth process, and there's only 4 steps to it. The problem is when they come and start completing this document, they come with questions. What type of information do I need to put in? Do I need to put in, the number of employees? Do I need to provide, a list of how they're structured? What's going on? So it gets to the point where there's a lot of back and forth between me and the supplier in order for them to actually complete the information with accurate data. Either that, when they come with questions to me, or they send the document to me with fields left incomplete because they didn't know what to put in, or with wrong data because they didn't want to ask a question, or they didn't have the time to do so. So they just sent it as is, and then I have to follow up with them and ask, hey, look, in this field, like field number G73, can you please put in the number or the whatever it may be, the date or whatever the case is. So it's a lot of back and forth between me and the supplier if I were to do the onboarding like this. And say we get to the point where, okay, I finally have the final version. Now I need to structure this information because I have the Excel, I have the email, I have the other 4 documents that I asked them to send to me. Maybe I want to know when I need to follow up. I need to put up, a reminder in my calendar to do so. So I need to centralize all the documents, maybe in a shared drive or something like that, and then put some notes regarding the supplier that, hey, this was this came on 11th of December. Maybe next year in around this time, I need to follow up with them, make sure that all the documents are up to date and etc.
So what if you leave, right? You actually need to save all this information somewhere from other people from the team to be accessible, because otherwise it's just about it, or maybe the people that you put in CC, but still it's very unstructured data in emails, right? So it's a bit of
it gets even more complicated if I have to if I have an approval process. So let's say I, as a vendor manager, I'm not the only person that gets a say into whether we start working with the supplier or not.
Right.
Then it's another chain of emails with maybe 2 or 3 people in addition to what I've been having, and then maybe they ask me questions. Then I have to follow up with that supplier. So there's it gets so like this.
It's becoming a very time-consuming, and maybe if everything happens in 2 days and everybody is spot on, it will be fine. But if supplier respond in 2 weeks' time, there are holidays, and then you come back, and then they forgot a document, and then, so the entire process can take months to actually be sure you have the new supplier onboarding. Then I know, and probably the final stage will be that you'll be sending an email. Hey, we have a new supplier onboarded. Finally, these are all the documents that are required.
Cool, exactly.
Understood. So pretty messy process, I will say. Of course, if it's like a simple form, maybe faster. But if you require documents and you want to have everything stored in a nice, organized way with all approvers in place, definitely not something that you can do on emails in an efficient manner. So I assume this is where you come in and you can help setting up something in Prokuria, right?
Yeah. Okay. So what I have prepared for today is as I said, a medium complexity procedure. So what we have is, right now I don't have the supplier that my colleague asked me to onboard because that's the scenario. So what I need to do firstly is to create that supplier in our supplier directory. So the name, if I can get the email, because I already forgot it, is ABC Company. So I can take that from the email, put it in here, save it. I can attach multiple information if needed, but for the process that I am going to go through, the minimum information I need is the name of the supplier. And then I also need a contact, because that's going to be, what I send all the communications through. Right. So let's create the contact. We'll say, so it's Alex Newman. And their email address is this one.
Yeah, so, I think the name is not correct. It was the...
Oh, yeah. So Alex Newman.
Right.
And then we'll say this is the admin of the account. So
right.
Very quick, very easy. And I also noticed that my colleague put here a category, so we can put that into here just so that we know.
You have a database. Yeah, it's not
exactly.
just information. You can segment by category and then look. Cool. Makes sense.
Yeah. So we can see we don't have an onboarding questionnaire yet. So what I can do now is, I've verified all the information is here. I can start the onboarding procedure. I click this button. The platform asks me to confirm that this is what I want to do. And I get the questionnaire generated. So if I go into it, I'm going to see multiple things. But the first thing that you can notice is, if I scroll a bit down, you can see that Excel file that I had is here. And not only that it's here, it's actually all the fields that were in here now are, the company status. I can put anything here. I can write whatever I want. Now I'm telling them, is it a limited company, a partnership, or sole trader, etc. So I now have control over the format that the supplier is responding in. So all those questions, what do I need to write in this specific field, get limited. I can go even further, and I can, add the descriptions to the field if I need to, and if I want to be more, like if I have a specific field that it's complex.
Can you show that? Maybe something that it needs. Can you show us? And then, because I see you are in developer mode, so then
So let's say I want to put a description for registered office address, and I can say this is the address that you have. Official address.
Official address, okay. So they know.
Once I save it, I can go back, and with a quick refresh, I moved too quick. So with a quick refresh, I can see here, this is the official address. So I can dictate what is going on. Now,
so I think you can go off with the developer mode, because that's also just to show how quickly we can actually customize the forms exactly the company's like it. And this form that we are showing here is just an example. All this we are custom building for our customers. Each company is different. Each company has their own onboarding requirements and their onboarding process. So there are two things that matters. What kind of information you are requiring from the suppliers, and these are the information in the form, and we can put all kind of fields, all kind of limitation, all kind of conditions. So there will be no mistakes, and it will be a very easy experience for the supplier. That's one. Second, it's about the flow. So what happens with the form? You send it, the supplier send it back, you approve, you validate. We'll see this, I think, farther down the road. But this first part, it's about how the Excel is looking in Prokuria. All the fields are transforming, all the cells in Excel are transforming fields in Prokuria. So we build this example.
Exactly. And that's the typical scenario. The client would send us, their current state of the onboarding procedure, and then we translate it into Prokuria. Of course, we have questions and we go back and forth for a bit, but eventually this is the format that we would get on. So coming back to the story, right now what I need to do is verify that I have the information that I need. Let's say the details the service and this supplier is providing, Jesus, are that they do construction and have low prices. Just so a small note internally, so I know what the why this started and what I'm doing.
And actually, that part, it's only for internal purposes. The actual part that supplier will see is from company information below. Yeah.
So I'm ready now to send the onboarding form to the supplier, and I'm going to do so. The platform will then register that and tell me it's sent to the supplier, and they will receive an email address. An email on their email address, and we can go and check that out. Let's wait a minute for the email to arrive. I'm gonna double check that I put the correct email address here. Yeah, should be good. Maybe Google is throwing a fit right now. They don't want to aid us in here. Okay, no worries. I have it prepared in a different format, just so that we don't waste time with Google not sending us the correct email, and we can check it out like this. So it tells us you have been invited to fill in the onboarding form, and please access the portal. Just a small message about security and such, and how does it work, like a quick step-by-step guide. Of course, this is customizable. There's no, it's not set in stone. What the supplier needs to do is click Access Portal. I'm going to copy it and open it in incognito. And what's going to happen now is they will have to log in. Now, you might ask, well, we haven't done any setup for the supplier, or they haven't registered in the platform. And that's because they don't need an account. What they do need is a valid email address, and the one that we set up, and we send them a one-time password code. Through that, they will be able to log in. Here it is. They receive it in the email, they put it here, and very quickly they get access to the portal. So no headaches.
There's no password, nothing to set up, just a valid email address, and the system will send the code just to check it's actually them, and that's it. They can have access to fill in the onboarding form. Cool.
Yeah. So they can see here they only have the initial review type of supplier onboarding, and if they click on it, they see the information that's required of them. So they can start filling in all the information in here. They can put their company name and whatnot, date of incorporation. I'm not going to go through all the fields, but I'm just going to start filling in and show you what the different types of information we can put in here.
Yeah, I've seen this a lot. Also, we are filling in a lot of, like, when we are acquiring new customers. Basically, we are a supplier for the company, so they will be sending us onboarding form. So we've seen a lot of cases. We are from IT industry, so a lot of questions that we receive from our clients are around data security, GDPR, technical infrastructure, and then about functionality. So this is our usual kind of onboarding form that we need to fill in as Prokuria. Nevertheless, all the time I've seen the part about documents. So all the companies are requiring now documents. Either is like registration document, either are policies, either are certifications, insurance policies, all kind of documents. So more and more companies are asking documents from suppliers before actually working with them, just for the onboarding. And I'm seeing a trend that these onboarding forms are getting longer and longer, especially if the companies if the companies are in regulated industries. Because of the regulations, they need to ask more information about their suppliers. That's one thing. Second is a general trend, like if you want to be on the sustainability trend or CSR or ECG trend, then definitely you need to kind of ask this question from your suppliers related to this kind of certification. So as the entire I would say business environment is moving into a more complex and compliant way, they will ask more and more questions. So we are pretty sure that inevitably a lot of companies will need to have a tool like Prokuria, maybe not Prokuria, but they need to have a tool because the Excels are getting longer and longer, and at one point in time it's something that cannot be managed in Excel and in emails. So I think here, for example, Alex is uploading a certification. So this is how the supplier will upload a certification, right, Alex?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
So what they can do is they can choose the types of documents that this is. Of course, we can make them to be mandatory, some of them, so that they cannot submit without any of them. But the point is their choices are limited, and they can we control what they can submit and they cannot. So they can put the document in here. They can write some notes. They can add the expiry date. Let's say it expires somewhere time next year, and save. So then we get the document. There's a little bug here that I have the validate and reject buttons, but no worries. So and they can do that again and again. So like the insurance policy, for example, they can do the same. Put a document in here, something, and let's put this one like 002. So it's very easy for them to provide those documents, and you will always have them on this onboarding. There's no where did I put them? Were they in that folder? No, they're in that folder, and etc. So whenever you need them, they're there. And you'll see in a second, this was a sneak peek actually on the internal side. So just to sum up here, the last step for them is to say everything that I've completed in here is accurate. I'm gonna just put a name here and put the date, and we can hold this as the validation that or signature, e-signature, or however you want to call it, that all this information was accurate, whatever they provided in here. Once they are done, the only thing for them to do is to submit. Once that happens, we myself as the vendor manager will get a notification letting me know that the supplier, ABC company, has submitted their onboarding form. And I can click on the link, and it will get me onto that specific form. What I can do now as a vendor manager is I can go through, look at all the information, make sure that everything is good. And in the required document section, I can actually look at the documents. I can verify that everything is up to par. And I can also, I can look at this insurance policy. Well, it's an ISO certification. But the point is I can validate it once I am sure that it's good. and I can keep track of what's good and make sure that they haven't submitted a picture with their cat, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and actually, I see a button send back there, right? So let's say if they didn't put the right certification, maybe they put the previous year and it's expired. You can actually reject this one and send it back, right? That's the purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah. For the documents or even for the information here, like if they
Right.
didn't, let's say they didn't put anything in, and I actually want them to put some examples, I can send back and you know, let them know that I need more information. So the next step, let's say I'm happy and I want to proceed with the validation of this onboarding, and I want to start working with them. So I can go ahead and click validate, but the platform can let me know I haven't added any approvers. So let's say my process, and I forgot as the vendor manager, is to actually have somebody else from a certain department approve this. And I can, you know, very quickly have a predefined list of approvers, depending on threshold amounts, different types of categories I can set up so that I see the relevant people here. I'm gonna choose the financial director. I'm gonna add him here, and then now I will actually click validate. What this will do is me as the vendor manager, I have validated this, so I'm good with it. But now I need the approval from John Doe, and they will also be notified. So they'll get an email saying, I, Alexander Sion, is requesting your approval on ABC Company. So I can see what's going on. Again, they get the link, they click the link, and they'll be on this page. And then they can go through the same process. Just look at everything, look at the documents, make sure that's okay. Once they're confident that the supplier is good, they just click approve. And once all the approvals have been registered, the approval status changes. And basically, this is the step where this whole process has finished. The supplier has gone through all the validations, and the last thing that the platform does is to let them know that the onboarding form has been approved. They can check and if there's any notes or anything, but it's from a flow process, this initial review is done. What I can do next, let's say I'm in, you know, fast forward a year, I can then send it for updates and, you know, reset the whole procedure. The information will be preserved. So if I click on it, nothing will happen apart from the status changing. The whole thing will still be here. They don't need to, you know, re-go through all the fields, recomplete everything. They just need to make sure that everything is up to date. Maybe re-upload some documents, being that they've, you know, updated them, uploaded them 1 year ago, and resubmit the form, and we go through the same validation and approval process.
Right. Actually, I think there is a question from Alex that is saying that in his industry, there is a compliance requirements to do this every year. So I think this is actually the process. You can revalidate this onboarding form or this compliance questionnaire every year. Maybe you don't need the full information. Maybe it's only the documents. I mean, we need to understand exactly the case, Alex, but nevertheless, that is the purpose. You have the information here. You can send it again to the supplier to revalidate, upload the new documents, whatever is required. However, I think even more than that, Prokuria can set up some automation. Like if a year passes from the last validation, maybe Prokuria can send a notification that this questionnaire needs to be sent for updates or for the yearly review, right? This can be done.
Yeah. It can be just a notification to the vendor manager to do so. It can be a notification directly to the supplier as a reminder, hey, a year has passed, you need to update your information. Depending on the scenario and what the client wants, we can set up different things.
Right. Okay, understood. And I think another thing is probably at the end, you also need to let know Roxana that there is the supplier he required it's onboarding. So maybe the
right.
platform
Yeah.
can automatically send this information to her as well.
Yeah.
That nobody needs to do this manually. That's the advantage of the platform.
Yeah. Once the the validation happens and the approval happens, so whenever the flow is ended, a notification can be set up so that the initial requester is notified as well.
Right. Okay. So we are in the final minute. So if anybody has any questions, please.
There is another question from Diana.
Okay.
So I have a large spreadsheet. How can I transition to this tool? Well, that's actually something we explained at the beginning, where basically, you give us what we receive typically as when we relate to a client is they send us something like this. Not necessarily this format. It can be, maybe it's a PDF, maybe it's something else. But they give us the documents that they send to the supplier, and we then go through and set up exactly as is, or as close as possible it can be to what they have here.
Right. Okay. So I think they don't need to actually go and set up the onboarding form by themselves. That's actually our job.
Yeah.
They just need to provide us the document that they use in their onboarding process. And I think the usual process is that we'll be looking at this file, analyze it, understanding, and then we will do the work of modeling that into the platform, right? So how long usually it takes this kind of process, Alex? Let's say for this kind of form.
Yeah. So if it's
a couple of weeks, right? Maybe 1 month, something like that, or
depending on how quickly, because normally we receive the documents and there's we have to understand exactly what's in the document and how that information is was the format of the information. But if that's clear, yeah, it can be a week, 2 weeks. If there's a bit of back and forth, maybe a month, but usually not longer than that.
Right. I think it's also complexity, right? So this is how it started. It can be like pretty simple. So a couple of weeks. It can be medium, maybe a month, but like high complexity, maybe even more. It really depends how much work is to be done there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is it, what we prepared. Alex, anything else, or this is it, right?
No, this would be the end of the process. If there's no other questions or insights the audience wants to provide, we can wrap it up.
Yeah. Thank you very much for everybody joining. Just a quick recap. So the webinar was how an onboarding process looks in Prokuria, and we started with the company that is like like a scenario XYZ company, and Alex was part of the vendor manager team, and he received some email, and he has a very messy process and file in Excel, but hey, there is Prokuria that we can use. But serious now, really saves a lot of time for the vendor managers teams, and really can bring compliance and reduce the risk to the business. That's the ultimate benefit of implementing such a process.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. So thank you very much, everybody.
Yep.
No other questions. I think this is it, right?
Yep.
We'll close it. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice day.
We'll see you on the next
holidays.
one.
Yeah.